Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our next session of Magnificence. I am here as always as your dungeon master. My name is G. I'm very excited to have you back as we get into the thick of things once again as we continue our travel through the Empire to eventually reach the underground city of Mor Akros. To catch you up on what happened last time we joined our party on their adventure, we had a surprising revelation here in the Moon Molten Vardo, a secret compartment in the wall that revealed a strange fairy tale book telling the story of an elf getting tricked by a hag, getting lost in a maze of enemies and riddles. The party went through the motions in solving the riddle and found a clue leading to the next one, which led them to the mirror here on the wall of the Moon Molten Vardo, only to discover that they did not quite yet have the capability of removing the mirror or the magical effect that had the next clue trapped within. So, continuing on along the trail, down south through the Empire, the party quickly discovered that an attack was happening. A group of bandits attacking a knight and a hunter out on the road. The party quickly intervened, dispatching the bandits and assisting the knight and the hunter, but the knight was someone maybe not familiar, but their armor certainly was, to Alina at least. She deciding to try to dig within the thoughts of the knight, but not finding too much purchase, and thus revealing herself to her tricks to the knight himself. As the fight concluded, the knight quickly has thanked our party and introduced himself as Sir Solomon, the maimed knight of House Domseer. And that is where we ended our last session. So to get into our very next session, we're going to pick up right now at the end of that battle. The bodies of the bandits that have not fled, that have fell in battle here, kind of littered around the dirt road. And the hunter now sat on the ground, holding a wound on his side, and the knight has kind of turned his attention away from the party a bit to focus back in on the hunter. He puts his sword back in its sheath and turns his eyes away from you, kind of crouching next to the hunter, having introduced himself to the party and thanked you slightly, but is now attending to the injured one in his care. He sort of begins having quiet conversation with him as the hunter winces in pain, holding his bloodied side. The two kind of beginning to take care of the issue at hand.
All right, well, let's move on, I guess. Owen begins to walk back to the carriage.
Owen, I am immune to plot points.
Listen, you put a knight in front of me. I'm not talking to this guy. I'm leaving.
Elena kind of watches Olwen go. Elena kind of stares at the knight for a moment. Weirdly conflicted expression on her face. And then just kind of leans over slightly, spits on the ground, turns her horse, and follows Olwen.
Oh, shit.
Remind me, the setup of where the party members were at the end of that initiative phase. I believe Alina was back on her horse, not in melee, but kind of more out in the open towards the knight and the hunter. Kuvos and Sage were both holding back, and the rest of them were kind of up in the fray. Am I remembering that correctly?
I believe Olwen was the closest to the knight, followed by Carrie, and then Suda, and then the backliners.
Yeah, Kuvos had moved sort of towards the trees to support from the back.
Who was it that I almost tagged with my Eldritch Blast? Okay,
Olwen.
yeah, that's what I thought.
It was Olwen.
So I'm going to be walking with Olwen and be like, shit, are you okay? I kind of got away from me there.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. It grazed, but I think I'll be fine.
Good. It's like, a bear scratch.
That does hurt, though. It's I wasn't entirely sure what those were at first. It does hurt. It hurts a lot.
Yeah. You did see the part where I blew open window, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
some of the things that people do look like it would hurt and it doesn't. This looks like it hurts and it does hurt. It's yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I didn't hit you full on then. So, let's yeah, who is that?
I have no idea. Do you? I don't
Okay.
want to talk to them. Do you?
No. And Alina certainly doesn't seem to have any particular love lost for him either.
No, we move on.
Perfectly on time. As you're all kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, fuck this guy. Everyone kind of returning back to the carriage. Leaning out from the carriage, again, not a fighter, Duke Leto, having taken cover during the fight, leans out of the carriage, kind of motioning everyone back, saying, oh, is the fight over? Are we done? Looks beyond you and raises a hand. Solomon! Everyone, wait, hold on. Wait. Jumps out of the carriage and goes skedaddling down the dirt road. Solomon, whose attention was on the hunter, kind of helping him patch up his hide, like, looks startled and confused and turns around and goes, you see the expression on his face is one of like, oh, fucking hell. All right, here we go. Kind of like mentally preparing himself for this encounter he's about to have. But in like, not like a I hate this guy, more like a oh this is an acquaintance of mine and he's super weird but kind of interesting to talk to.
Felt that.
Gets to his feet as Leto scurries over and clasps his hand and shakes it vigorously. I am surprised to see you this far north, my friend. I thought that short leash that your lady held you on was a bit too tight. So it's like kind of like punching him in the chest a little bit, but he has bare fists and the guy is wearing plate armor, so it's like ting 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 ting. Solomon kind of laughs a bit begrudgingly and nods. It's certainly a tight one, but one that I am able to slip from time to time. But I'm actually here on my lady's business, believe it or not. I would offer to travel with you back south, but I'm heading further up north. House Oldfire. They still have dominion over the northern portion of the spires, correct? Leto kind of nods along, kind of explaining. He takes out the map. Solomon takes out a map that he has, and Leto is kind of like giving him directions and such, and is pointing along up north, back towards the way that you guys came from. They have their quick conversation, and then Leto begins to walk back, and Solomon, instead of crouching down and attending to the hunter once again, crouches down, puts his arm over his shoulders, and picks him up and starts walking back towards your guys' caravan, along with Leto.
Before they catch up, Owen is going to sort of, in like a joking manner, turn to Suda and go like, oh, well, would you look at that? A noble who hates their wife. How original.
No, not touching that one.
House Damsier is to the southeast in Understone, right?
Yeah, House Damsier has dominion over Wolf's Landing, aka the land of the Conclave.
Okay.
Kuvos, you know House Damsier very well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we had discussed that last time. There's no love between the Conclave and House Damsier, but
Also, I'm curious on how Caradwyn's doing, because there was some significant stuff in the previous combat for her as well. Where is she at right now?
Oh, me? I think Caradwyn's hanging back. The threat having been eliminated, the immediate danger not being there, some fucking knight being here, who cares? I think she's walking back towards the caravan, probably at this point trailing behind the knight and the hunter and Duke Leto, wanting very much to keep her distance from that chaos, and just sort of looking at the hand that was gripping that medallion very tightly. So tightly she didn't realize that it drew a little bit of blood. And she's just sort of looking at that hand and flexing it a little and kind of feeling out that new injury, and is pretty lost in thought, having experienced a very new and unusual sensation of casting magic, not something she's very familiar with. I'm not talking to anybody.
Amazing.
I'm trying to decide how rude I should be.
Very. As Leto returns with the knight and the hunter, you see Solomon kind of rests the hunter up against the carriage for a bit. His wound having been patched, and he's just sort of catching his breath now. And now that the hunter is leaning up against the carriage, all good, catching his breath, nodding to each of you in sort of like a silent acknowledgement of thanks for your assistance. Solomon says a few more short words to Leto before turning to look at the rest of you for half a second, but really turning to look at Alina. He quietly nods to you. My lady, thank you for your assistance.
Elena says nothing, just stares.
Oh, I thought you would have had questions for me, considering how you were trying to get them for yourself.
Suda is just like hanging out of the doorway, like watching this exchange with just passing amused interest.
It's so tense.
I think Kuvos is gonna do an insight check and
On
try
who?
and see if
On which one?
That's a good question. I think he's gonna start with Alina, just trying to see if like what the relationship is. He knows she is of the Empire and is has some sort of station, but he's not familiar with he's not very familiar with the noble houses and their quarrels, so he's trying to figure out exactly what's going on here.
Alina, you can roll persuasion or deception or whatever to combat this insight. You do not have to share which one you're rolling if you do not care to.
Okay.
That's a dirty 20 for Kuvos.
Dirty 20, okay?
Come on. Oh, yeah. Even with my good persuasion, I cannot beat a dirty 20.
Yeah.
So remind me your question.
He's just trying to ascertain the nature of like this exchange. Like, is there some bad blood here? Where exactly is Alina's bite coming from in this exchange?
So, just to help Alina answer that question, Alina, what you know of Sir Solomon isn't a lot. It's more so I know of him. You know that he is sort of a right-hand man, like a personal knight of the House Blood. So when he was saying my lady, he wasn't referring to like a partner. He was referring to the Archduchess Helira of House Damsir.
Right.
He's like the knight that works for the House Blood. There's others like him, but he's like one of the main guys. So he works directly for them.
And was he there that day?
He was not there that day.
Cool. All right. So then, Kuvos, what you get with your insight is that this is a long-standing thing. It's probably not personal.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with who they serve, not the person themselves. But the pain of it is incredibly deep, and is a heart injury that she is dealing with. Elena is one stray thought or one stray comment from this guy away from like casting invisibility on herself and booking out.
Okay. Question for the DM. Do you think Kuvos during this journey, would Kuvos feel safe enough on this journey to have worn his conclave emblem out?
That is such a good question. No, because you would have traveled through this valley to get to Seer's Morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know this is something that you're going to encounter any minute now. The further you guys travel along this road through the Grimhold Valley, you are going to reach the quote-unquote entrance to the Grimhold Valley, aka the entrance to like the House Shroudmore territory, the entrance to like the capital city area. Out side of the entrance to this area that you guys are now exiting, sort of like the road leading through Grimhold Valley, you know they post up bodies of enemies there as like an intimidation tactic. You didn't see much when traveling in. You don't know if more have been added, but you know they have like wooden posts and arches that they hang people from, as like I said, an intimidation tactic. They're very public about it, and it's very much a thing to say, don't fuck with us, essentially. You know, you guys are probably gonna hit this like landmark of mutilation further down the road you go in like a few hours. But that was your welcome to the House Shroudmore territory. With everything else that happened, I would say that's definitely up to Kuvos, but that was your welcome. That's the that's the air that this area holds for you.
Okay. Then my thought there isn't necessarily going to work, but I think at this point, just to sort of save Alina from, not necessarily save her, but to distract a little bit from the tension that's happening here, Kuvos is going to kind of cut in and be like, well, we would all have questions, seeing as a knight such as yourself was struggling so hard with bandits.
Yes, that is a very good observation. I apologize, my lady, he says, immediately diverting back to Alina, like putting his hand up against his chest, giving like a half bow of like trying to be as respectful as he can. That was very forward of me, and I did not intend to be so rude and forthcoming with my questioning. I was accompanying my friend Witten here, he says, motioning to the hunter. Himself and his Iron Vanguard group were continuing down this road. I was traveling with them, but some ruffians in the area set a trap for the Vanguard, and I happened to get caught in the mix. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but just an unfortunate situation. Olwen, did you have anything?
Owen would like to be rude.
Yeah.
I would like to use my observant feat for mischief. So Owen is going to be just sitting next to the cart, not directly looking at the conversation, but he's pulled out like a piece of really loud hardtack that's like, you know, when you chew on it and it's just so loud. And he's just anytime the knight is talking, he's just gonna chew on it so loud. But anytime anyone else is talking, he'll like pause.
So juvenile. I love that. Oh my god. That's so funny. Okay, yeah, amazing. The entire time, every word that he says is just accompanied by the sound of Olwen chewing so upsettingly loud. So loud. It's deeply upsetting. Yeah, amazing.
You and your Vanguard are a bit late for the ceremonial deals up in Sears Morning, if that's where you're headed to.
You talking to Solomon or Witten the hunter?
Solomon.
He shakes his head. No. Shroudmore and my own house are difficult terms at the moment. I was not attending myself personally, a different representative. I'm simply handling a matter up in the spires.
I assumed as much. That was my more polite way of trying to indirectly ask why you're traveling about with the Vanguard and Valenson.
Well, asking directly will get you a lot more answers, I think. I've definitely learned that in my time with Damsir. Nothing that can be shared the details of. I'm simply taking care of business for my house and also for House Oldfire. Something in their territory. Witten was kind enough to allow me to travel with his Iron Vanguard for a time while we were passing through this territory. But obviously, he needed my help, he says, slapping him really hard on the shoulder and went, oh fuck you, man. Like, deeply hurt.
So you were heading into or out of? Are we just... wanting to check your wounds here, or are you going to be sticking with us for a bit?
Oh no, we're heading off. Witten here is gonna be taking care of his people. He motions back to some of the hunters like dead in the tree line that fell to some of the bandits. He's gonna be taking care of his own, and I have to continue traveling north, so we will part here. But I thank you all nonetheless for the assistance.
Of course. And Kuvos is going to kind of look at Witten and be like, hopefully those are seen too well and you're able to find a cleric in the city. But next time you may want to travel a little more observantly.
You're going to have a rough time of it finding a cleric. You're more likely to find a physician. Do you want me to... first aid?
No, I'm gonna put them all in a pile and I'm gonna burn them. Like this is part of the job. But yeah, it's they're done. They're nixed. A lot of them were kind of newbies I was taking out for the first time. Some of them were veterans that were sort of not into it. Yeah, no, this is part of the job. Don't worry about it.
I was more asking if you wanted me to see to your arm, so.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Do I look like somebody who will do funerary rites on the roadside?
No, I thought you were suggesting I go get a cleric from the city and like bring them back. No, fuck that. No disrespect to the dead, he says, pointing back to the tree line, but like they're dead. What can I do from them now at this point, you know? No, he kind of lifts up his tunic a bit. The like wrapped wounds that Solomon tried to help attend to. I should be fine. I got a few poultices I can slap on it. I gotta go back. Our camp is a bit further into the trees. I gotta go get my shit. Put it on there. I'm embarrassed. Solomon, fuck you. Thank you for the help. Solomon kind of like, all right. Go, don't die, please. I would like to walk back to Understone with you on the way back, if you like. Witten flips him off as he walks back towards the trees. They're friends in the way that they insult each other. You guys can kind of surmise.
They're bros. They're bros.
They hate each other.
Love that for them.
But yeah, Witten shambles back off towards the trees, pauses just long enough to kick one of the bandits and winces, holding his side, immediately regretting it. All right, anything else?
Am I within like eye line of the night? Can he see me?
I think with the loud chewing noises you're making, he's turned back like to look at you, so he's like aware you're there. He's like very aware of your presence. To an uncomfortable degree, he's aware of your presence.
Fair enough.
I'll say, so they're like pulling away or like heading away now?
Yeah, Solomon is taking off on his own back up north. He's going the way you guys came, just on foot on his own.
Got it. Elena definitely, again, no nods, no like acknowledgement beyond what she did before, but she's definitely watching him go.
Yeah.
Long stare.
If no one else is trying to interrogate Solomon or be rude to him, he continues walking up the road. And as you...
I tried to be the polite at first.
As he's walking away, can I druidcraft just to like make his boots a little dirtier than they used to be?
Make his boots dirtier?
Like maybe
Yeah, his boots are filthy right now. It matches all the other dirt and blood that's covering him from all the travel he's been doing.
Yeah,
Can I insight to see if I notice him doing that?
I just want him to be like a little stinkier.
A little stinky. Oh, Jesus Christ. Literally a 12-year-old boy with a stink bomb. Like, oh my god.
Can I roll to see if I notice that?
Olin, do you make it obvious?
I'm not making it obvious to the knight, but I think to everyone else in the party, they just see like Owen like grab like a little bit of dirt, like crush them in his hand, and just this little like trail of like the smell of like just manure like behind the knight.
Nasty.
Stinky boots.
Elena's gonna like, as she notices Olwen do that, just a little nod at him. Respect.
Nightmare King, I would like to make perhaps a retroactive perception check, because I would like to know how much I noticed about what was going on with Carrie during that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll call it an insight check. Because you're kind of discerning her current body language and such. Yeah.
Okay, 17. 18 with my wisdom.
Yeah. Caradwin, that 18, if you just want to tell us what the 18 gets or kind of want to roll against it, your choice.
I don't know that she is consciously trying to hide or pretend. Let's see. I mean, no, an 11 with a 0 modifier either way. So,
I was more hoping to know if I noticed the spell casting going on during the combat. That's why I said it was like kind of a little retroactive there.
Sure. I don't know if you would have. Bane does have all 3 components, but the material component is a drop of blood, which happened when she like just squeezed the medallion a little too tightly in her hand. It wasn't a conscious choice necessarily to cast the spell. It's just a thing that happened as she was moving into battle almost on instinct, and then this other sort of power preceded her as she moved into the road. So you might have noticed some like, ooky, like extra long shadows, like, the sun shouldn't be doing that kind of thing this time of that sort of thing. But it was not a big like flashbang, smoke, sparks, wizard spell casting.
I am someone who is familiar with noticing, how do I put this? Sage is somebody who has seen the first little sparkles of divine intervention in somebody else's life. So even if Carrie wasn't fully intentionally doing it, she has seen somebody perform divine magic when it is just starting to spark and they are not doing it fully intentionally already in her life.
I think you would probably recognize that then. Sparkling is certainly not a descriptive word I would use.
Yeah, that's definitely not the word for Caradwins in particular. I don't want to say minor. I don't want to use the word minor. That doesn't feel right. But divine intervention feels like too much, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think you would certainly notice then, especially with that previous experience of knowing that there is something a little larger at play, and that Caradwin is not perhaps entirely aware of it yet.
With the high insight roll, I think I have put a couple of those pieces together, but
makes sense.
I think in this moment also using that insight roll, which is much higher than Sage usually probably would be thinking, she will have restraint in this moment specifically.
Whoa, unheard of.
That's growth, baby.
Oh no. I just don't want to freak you out.
Okay, amazing. You guys all kind of regroup yourselves. Witten goes off into the trees to take care of the other members of his hunting party that were traveling with him. Solomon, with his now stinky boots, continues walking north up the road towards like the Sears Morning area, continuing through Grimhold Valley. He pauses about like 40-50 feet up the road, actually, as you guys are all getting back in your caravan, in your Vardo, to continue traveling down the road. He pauses, and you hear his voice raise. Alina, especially keeping an eye on him, you see him pause and look back towards the caravan and raise his voice again to like call out. Oh, and Lady Alina, you'll have to tell your mother hello for me. It's been a while since I've spoken to her. And continues walking from there.
God, what an asshole.
Spine stiff, doesn't move.
I fucking hate knights.
Statue.
Yeah. They are the worst.
Think they're too good for everybody else.
Yeah.
Always muscling in on conversations and shit.
Like, oh, look at me. I got given a sword.
Well, and Dampsir particularly does seem to have an ego.
Oh.
At least from the interactions I've had with him.
That's one way to put it.
Well, should we get moving before he decides to turn around again?
Let's leave his metal ass in the dust.
Please, I don't want to know what he stepped in. Do you smell that?
I've smelled worse. Got to do better next time.
I'm willing to take pointers. If I can do that better, I am more than happy to.
Oh god, don't teach Owen how to make stink bombs. Oh no.
Okay, so I had this one bounty who had decided to collect his feces over...
Oh no. Suda dives into the grossest story ever as you guys continue down the road.
I think Caradwen, like, having climbed into the caravan, like, for part of this conversation, making their way back to the rooftop, not fully paying attention, but is still like, you should throw in a little decomp smell, too.
Noted, got it.
Yes. Find something that has been run over by a wagon or something like that. That trail kill. Just mix it in.
A few days in the sun.
Horrifying.
You are not to practice any of this within 250 feet of the caravan, do you understand?
Why do you care? Aren't you the one that can instantly clean something up?
You still have to smell it in the first place.
Okay.
Lady Alina, I know that wasn't simply because he was a knight. You did not act that way to Dame Cersei, and I will not ask.
I appreciate that.
But I do think it's a bit dismissive to just think that that was because he was a knight looking at Olwen and Suda.
I don't know. I've met a few knights. None of them have been good experiences.
Some of my dearest friends are knights.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He is not one of my dearest friends.
Sorry to hear that.
Olwen with the one-liners.
I stand by my previous statement about knights. All of them.
Olwen's wanted for murder in all 5 kingdoms.
100%.
Oh.
The wagon starts moving again. It's so awkward in here.
Oh, Elena's like on the horse. She has not gotten back in the wagon. She is alone time. I'm riding my horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caradwen back on the roof.
I think because we sort of got into like a tirade of talking about how people don't like knights, I think Owen has gotten a little bit too comfortable and starts going like, yeah, knights are the worst. Can you imagine giving yourself a title to like say out loud when you introduce yourself? It's like, oh, I'm Sir da-da-da-da. I speak for the... It's ridiculous. And it's always a color. It's always like, I am the dark knight. I am the red lance. It's like, at the very least, have some sort of creativity outside of a color and a thing.
I think you have a bit of a misunderstanding about how being knighted works.
Oh, so someone else chooses the color and the item. Whoop-de-doo, that sounds great.
I was going to say the same thing. It's... The knight represents a house, typically.
Well, the house can choose better things, not just a color and an item.
The color is set... I'm not gonna get into it.
Fully every knight you've met has not had a name like that. It's the funniest part of this. Every single knight you've met so far has not had a name like that.
And I mean, can you really blame them for wanting to speak for and defend something bigger than themselves? Looking very pointedly.
You can do that without being an asshole. People have done that without being an asshole.
Olwen, I don't see you doing that.
Yeah.
Got him.
A disembodied voice coming from the rooftop. Just.
Well, yeah, because I'm not an asshole. To some people. All right.
That doesn't counter...
I am to some people.
All right.
You enchanted Solomon's boots like shit as he was walking away. And then 2 minutes later say I'm not an asshole.
No, he's not not an asshole. He's a child.
It was funny. You guys have to admit it was pretty funny.
Oh no, it was fucking hilarious.
All right, there we go.
I am interested in what that business was, but I could tell it would not have been viable to get it out of him.
If they have business, they're not going to talk about it.
I mean, all right. In all seriousness, we're moving away from it. Do we really care what this person's business is? What does it have to do with any of us?
If it has to do with Oldfire, it might have to do with what we're doing. Nothing we can do about it now, but it is worth keeping in your mind.
All right.
Considering our plans when we get back, or your plans when we get back, I guess.
Well, there we go. If we hear anyone saying something about some dude in tin armor moving upwards north, we'll write it down on something.
Kuvos takes out a notebook and just makes a note.
Amazing. You guys continue traveling through the Grimhold Valley. It's a few more hours. You guys are getting into like early evening-ish. Though it is getting only like early evening, it gets dark super fast here. Especially getting this close to winter. So it's getting like pitch black by like 4 or 5 p.m. already. So it's definitely, though not that late, you may have to stop and camp soon. You see there's a bunch of other caravans and travelers kind of passing by, some coming up from behind and going around you, some passing from the other direction, all carrying their own lanterns to light their way, some having personal bodyguards walking alongside the caravan. It's right before you guys are all having the thought as like a collective caravan, we should probably stop soon, rest for the night before continuing tomorrow, that you come upon the first of those wooden posts. They were empty, mostly empty, at least a couple weeks ago. Giant wooden posts on either side of this dirt road crossing through a Grimhold Valley with someone strung up on each of them. One every mile or so. Going down the road, repeating. Some of them more skeletal, some more half decomposed, some very fresh. One or two even still tied up there, groaning ever so slightly as the last bit of life leaves them, all covered in various muck and blood. Some of them have signs, kind of like hung over their neck, like a post that was put over their neck like a necklace. Some reading as traitor, spy, rat, mage. These are people that are not viewed kindly by the Empire. And it is a bit of a harrowing sight. It smells horrible. The sound of just the silent death is horrible. And getting to the end of this parade of decay, this grotesque display of power and intimidation put on by the Empire, there is a giant wooden arch that symbolizes the end or the entrance to Grimhold Valley, in your guys' case, the end. And you see what looks like was once a man hanging up underneath this arch. Ropes holding him by the wrists, holding him up so he just kind of hangs there limply, just battered and bruised, covered in muck and blood and all the like. Instead of the head one would expect to see, there is a wolf's head, sort of making a symbol of this man. And there is a sign that is different from the one-word ones you guys have seen thus far. This one reads very clearly on both sides, "Wolves not safe." this is what you guys see as you exit Grimhold
As
Valley.
we pass by the posts, Owen, as we pass by like each body, like through the post, Owen would just like to druid craft onto the posts to cover the grotesque bits with flowers for the dead, and give these bodies like a respect that the Empire was not kind enough to give them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think very similarly as we begin to pass through this, the smell of bodies and decay is something that would have snapped Caradwyn out of their reverie a little bit. They will hop down, and as we pass anyone who is still clinging to life, Caradwyn would like to end their suffering as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Passing through this horrid display, this walk of gallows, you guys give what mercy you can to the victims of this rather brutal show of force, show of the Empire's power. So anyone who is coming within their territory knows immediately the consequences of standing against them. And that wolf-headed man at the very start of it, especially to you, Kuvos, is the most telling of where they stand. That sign, wolves not safe.
And I think just seeing that, like, on instinct, he is holding the jacket closed, making sure that the many-eyed wolf on the inside of it stays hidden for anyone who might take notice, even though no one else is around aside from their retinue. But he wasn't exactly upfront to Leto or anyone else about his connection there either.
Yeah. With the many-eyed wolf being the symbol of the conclave, carrying it around, especially in this territory, I think this makes it extremely painfully obvious that that is not a safe thing to do, carry that so openly. And I think Kuvos definitely understands that. And for everyone else, it kind of just gives this quiet understanding of this disagreement between the conclave and the Empire, this swapping of verbal blows, occasionally the ambushed caravan taking out a couple knights, making an example of someone. I think all 6 of you kind of have this quiet understanding amongst yourselves that it is not going to end there. This whole thing is going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. And you have to wonder, this amount of people are dead and strung up as an example before any official conflict has even started. So it gives a sort of uneasy feeling to think about what it's going to look like if someone officially declares any sort of war. You guys are able to stop for the night, kind of away from this morbid sight. Everyone's sort of quiet as the camp is set up, everyone involved with Leto's caravan. He gives you guys space, kind of shares in the rations for the caravan, but you guys are left to your own devices for the night. He has his own people kind of patrolling the area to keep watch. You guys are free to set up a watch amongst yourselves if you like, or you can all just rest, whether within the Vardo or set camp outside, however you guys like to start camp tonight.
Well, there's not a ton of room inside the Vardo, is there? How many of us could reasonably sleep in it?
Yeah, I mean, the Vardo is it's basically like a small studio apartment size. So there's not enough like beds. Like there's like a small bed, there's like a hammock, there's some armchairs, but some of you guys will have to like make beds on the floor. But I mean, you guys won't be at the mercy of the elements at the very least. There's already like some pillows and linens here in the Vardo wagon. So I mean, it's not the coziest, not enough beds for everyone, but might be better than sleeping outside on the ground. I don't know, Olwen might disagree with that.
What's the weather like?
Weather right now, it's pretty overcast, but not currently raining. It's cold during the day. Since it's getting to be nighttime, it's getting a lot colder. So sitting by a fire or wrapping yourselves in multiple layers is necessary to be even slightly comfortable. You can tell it's probably going to start raining throughout the night just based off the heavy clouds and distant thunder.
Okay.
Owen's going to pop a leaf into his mouth, chew it, spit it into his hand, and read the weather with Druidcraft.
Weatherman Olvin, you surmise there's definitely going to be some heavy rainfall tonight, and it's going to carry over into the morning. You guys are going to have probably a very slow, messy start with all the mud that's going to gather. It'll probably slow down halfway through the next day, but not entirely stop. It's probably going to rain for a while.
I'll hold my hand up to the party and show them like the little speckles and go like, so it's going to rain later tonight. It's going to carry over into the morning. So anyone sleeping out.
Rain in the early winter in Valensun?
Yeah.
Wow. I could have never guessed.
Well, I can tell you how long it'll last and when it'll happen, if that's at all useful to you. You know, for someone who supposedly likes it when they have information and they're told things in specific order and fashion, this would be something you would appreciate, but I guess not. Maybe you like to pick and choose, which is nice information. But yes, it's going to rain.
Why don't you go set up your sleeping? I assume you'd like to sleep outside, Olwen.
Yes, I would like to sleep outside.
Why don't you set up your space and Sage, let's go get ourselves squared
It's
away
fine.
inside.
I'm quite accustomed to not knowing what it's going to do when I'm traveling on the road.
Let's inside it. And Elena is like trying to put one arm over Sage's shoulders and like bring in.
She's like actually like not upset. She's like, I don't know why. She's so I would like to so we obviously have the skylight for the Vardo. And the main like door in the back, right? Okay. I would like to take a few moments and cast Arcane Lock on both of those entrances. I picked up some gold dust before we left town. In order to do it. Sage lays some of the gold dust, kind of takes the padlock and has it laying flat in her hand, and the gold dust sort of sinks into it, making its way between like the veins of iron. And if you're looking very closely, you can see marbling of gold on it after she has cast the spell twice. The spell lets me designate what people can open the object normally. I will designate Tara and Vanek and the six of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask, are you going to let them out?
I thought about, well, no, I think Sage is actually not upset. She's like, no, I mean, like, she is used to being on the road and not knowing what's going to happen. And if you put money on what the weather's going to be tomorrow, she would have put money on rain.
Yeah. You're better than me. I would have locked him out just because that's hilarious.
No, because then I'd have to spend another spell slot later to change it.
That's fair.
The only thing like that's going through my head is imagining Leto coming to wake us up, and then alarms just start blaring when he touches the door.
No, he just straight up. I mean, I can also cast alarm, but I don't feel the need to. He just won't be able to open the door.
It's locked. Sorry, I thought it was alarm. My bad. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys just gonna wake up to him knocking on the door every morning.
But G, I sent you like a message. Could I finish that before the morning?
Depends, because you may not be able to get a full rest if you focus just on that, because watches are gonna have to be divided between, like, at the very least 3 different people. So if you stay up for an extra 2 hours, you can still get a long rest. I don't think that would be enough time to finish your little project. But you have a lot of travel time ahead of you, so I think you could definitely get it done before you get to walking still, at the very least.
Speaking of projects, were you upgrading? You're upgrading some armor at one point, right?
I finished that already.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Rolled really well with the leather tools. So that's done.
Oh, that's right.
I think as everyone's sort of getting ready for bed, Kuvos would try to find a moment to sort of slip away and get some distance between himself and the Vardo to keep that appointment that he made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You kind of go off-road into the trees a bit. You can still kind of see and hear the caravan, but you're out of sight. You're a bit less noticed. It's freezing out here. You're already shivering a bit as you walk out holding your staff. And as you get to as private of an area as you can without going off too far into the woods, you're holding your staff in your hands, and it's a moment of I'm expecting this to do something. Is there going to be like a bright flash of light or a bunch of smoke billowing out or what? But just sort of nonchalantly, the ethereal figure that appeared to you before just steps out from behind a tree as if he was already walking, just appears already walking out from behind a tree, and looks around, spots you, and nods, and then just posts himself up, leaning up against the trunk of a tree, looking at you expectantly.
And Kuvos kind of startled by the fact that he appeared as if he wasn't appeared as if out of nowhere. Pauses, takes a couple steps forward, leans against a tree of his own, and kind of shares that similar expectant look. Well, you were the one who wanted to talk.
Yeah, I was. So, I just want to make a few things clear before we really get into this. You can ask me as many questions as you like. I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to answer any of them.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in like a metaphorical, I'm trying to protect you. I cannot. My head, he says, putting one finger against his temple, is locked out, is the best way I can put it. There's... Let me start over. He takes a seat on the grassy floor of the forest. Not the blades of grass not even bending under his weight, just further demonstrating how he's not truly there. This is just something you're seeing. And he motions for you to sit across from him as he kind of rubs his hands together in preparation.
Kuvos does.
Okay.
Taking a sort of quick glance over his shoulder to make sure nobody's watching or following.
The spirit settles himself. Kind of takes a deep breath, even though he obviously doesn't need to. Just a force of habit, mostly. And levels his gaze at you. I need to apologize to you first. Because it is not a good thing that you hold this staff now.
Okay.
Think of it like a curse. Not exactly, but similar enough. What little I can tell you from experiences I've had is that the holders of this staff, let's call them untimely ends.
And you see Kuo sit back for a moment and kind of process this, clutching the staff. And there is a slight mutter under his breath of, well, wonderful graduation gift, I suppose. And what has your experience with it been? Aside from this, gestures vaguely to the spirit.
Let me answer that with a question. Where did you get the staff from? Who did you get it from?
My parents. They said it was some
Your
sort of
parents.
family heirloom.
Your parents. So it would have been your grandfather then, if my memory serves me correctly. I would have to assume grandfather or great grandfather. paternal relative, a couple generations back, is my guess. I suppose you could say it's a family heirloom, but only for a few generations. Before your grandfather or great-grandfather held it, it was held by a seafarer. A seafarer who got it from a trader, who got it from a knight, and so on and so forth and so back. I cannot discern the nature of this item that you hold, but I can tell you this. Something about it twists the minds of those around it and those who hold it. You are not in any danger from it. You are in danger from those who will come to seek it.
Okay. And what are they seeking it for?
Could not tell you. As I said, it's a sort of curse. They are not of their own minds when they seek the staff. There is something that triggers deep within them and compels them to seek the staff and put it in their hands through any means necessary. When I say you must prepare, I mean you must prepare. The one who put it in your family line, your grandfather, do you know how he retrieved it? Do you know how he got it in his hands?
My mother never told me the story. I can always ask.
I don't think she would tell you the whole story because it's not a pretty one. He was one of the victims of the staff's madness curse, I suppose you could call it. He and a friend were out exploring some of the reefs one day after it had fallen from the seafarer's ship and sunk down into the ocean, where I assume you are from. They came upon it one day, and when the friend went to reach for it, something in your grandfather's head turned the wrong way. Oh, he bashed his friend's head in with a rock to try to get the staff away from him, is what happened. And ever since then, he's held it in the family line. Your grandfather was not himself when this happened. I cannot say what the cause of this is. I cannot say what compels them. I cannot say where it comes from, any of that. All I know is that it does happen. I have seen it happen over and over and over and over and over again. And frankly, I'm a bit tired of it. I want to make sure you're prepared for when eventually it happens to you. What's your name, by the way? Kudos? We've never had a formal introduction, I just have to say. The first time that I tried to speak with you, you sort of freaked out and put the whole thing away.
Yes, because you're not supposed to be in here. What are you doing in here anyway?
I wish I could tell you. That's the shitty part of it. All I know is that this staff is a prison for me because I can never be more than 10 feet away from it, and I cannot experience anything outside of it. I cannot remember how I ended up in it, how I ended up with the details of this. All I remember is generations over and over and over again of people being driven mad trying to get this staff in their hands. That is all I know.
Then how long have you been trapped in it?
Many more years than I can count, that's for sure. I remember once, I'd never met him personally. There was a man named Kirfels once. So I assume since very early Empire days.
So you met the founder of the Empire?
No, I never met him, but I heard his name being thrown around as if he was still alive. I only have a tiny, tiny, narrow view of the world. Peasants don't know of giant events going on within the Empire and world-changing things. They know about their farms and their pigs. That's the experience I have of ancient history, is what this one guy's farm looked like 300 years ago. So unfortunately, I am not a source of ancient knowledge. I am a source of people killing each other over and over again.
It gives me a place to start, though.
Yeah. I can say this. I don't know the details. This is a whole confusing situation. I know in the past there have been holders of the staff that found ways to unlock memories, I guess is the best way to put it. So as you advance, it's almost as if I remember more. But as soon as the staff changes hands again, I am reset.
So basically, the longer I hold on to this, the more you'll remember, and the more of a chance I have of what exactly? What's
Staying alive! That's the best part of life, is trying not to die at the hands of everyone else around you. It's really very serious. I shouldn't laugh.
I mean,
But you've about got it.
I would rather not have to fight for my life over holding on to this. Now, it's been in the family for quite some time, and I was happy to have it, but this wasn't exactly what I signed up for.
You're just gonna throw me in a ditch? You're just gonna throw the staff in a ditch and just leave it?
Not if it's dangerous, no.
No, I'm your responsibility now.
Fuck me.
You can't just commit to something and then abandon it later.
I didn't commit to this. This was a gift.
Have you ever had a family pet gifted to you and you decided, oh, I don't want to take care of this anymore, you should leave it in the field? No, that's a shitty thing
I
to
was
do.
too poor for pets.
Well, now you have one! Congratulations, my boy!
What's your name?
Whew, could not tell you. That's another shitty part of it.
Great. So I have some unnamed spirit in my family heirloom staff telling me that people are going to try to attack me to take it from me.
Don't worry, I'll teach you how to not be attacked and die. You just have to listen and stop with the fucking books and the papers. Those aren't going to save your life when someone runs at you with a knife, Huvos.
I mean, that's what I have magic for?
How well does that go for you normally when someone with a big sword tries to kill you?
Hey, that was one time. I haven't been in any fights before, okay? I did plenty well with the rat thing, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Or were you not paying attention when that happened?
Honestly, I was completely zoned out. You live for as long as I have, and you see the same things over and over again. And I've had this conversation more times than I can tell you, Huvos. I just sort of check out sometimes.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing is you're going to check out when I'm doing well, and when I'm failing, you're going to see it. Perfect.
Exactly.
So, when these people change, when that switch flips, is there any visual sign? Any outward sign? Anything?
Nothing that I've noticed. They get incomprehensibly angry. Like, violent, rage-filled angry. I mean, nothing has happened to you as far as I can tell. You feel normal, right? You don't feel any unbridled rage deep within your heart that begs you to kill all those around you?
No.
Great, then you're fine.
Do I need to be worried about my companions?
I mean, do any of them have unbridled rage deep within their hearts that compels them to kill people around them?
I mean, not that I know of, no. I don't know that they would share it with me. If they did.
Yeah, right. Well, as far as I can tell, you're fine. Normally people are fine for like the first few months or so you'll probably be fine for a little bit.
This is very comforting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Comfort is what I do best. I make people feel good about life by telling them that all their friends are going to try to kill them eventually.
Yes. Great. Not if I can figure out how to uncurse this piece of shit first.
Right. Hey, that's my house you're talking about.
What?
I live in the staff. It's my house.
Yes.
Technically.
But-
I call it my house because I am bound to it.
Well, hopefully if I uncurse it, it won't remain your house. That would be preferable also.
Yes, but where would I go after that is the question. That's something to wonder about if you figure out how to deal with this shit.
Very fair. I would suppose whatever
Request
afterlife...
for you. Yeah. Request for you, though.
Okay.
Should you die at the hands of someone wanting to take the staff, could you make sure they're somewhat a bit more athletically inclined?
Kuvos just kind of puts his head in his hands for a moment and says, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think anyone as athletically inclined as you're hoping for would be utilizing a staff in any way.
Let me dream, Kuvos. For a big warrior to pick up the staff and be like, yes, I'll listen to your wise old spirit and I will kill any who try to take you. And I will protect you and bash them with the staff. Is that so much to ask for, Kuvos?
I mean, probably would be a pretty big ask, seeing as most athletically inclined people that you're looking for would be knights with swords or more capable weaponry.
Yeah, those fuckers with their swords. All right. Well, as I said, it's not a lot of information. I wish I could tell you more, but this is the situation we're in. So, hold on to the staff, do some research, see how much we can crack into the skull of mine, and just see what's in there.
I suppose we shall see. And if I have questions, I can ask.
Yeah, I'll do my best to answer, but as I said, my biggest source of knowledge is just like there was this lady who had this stuff like 700 years ago, and she read this giant series of smut novels, and I know an absurd amount of details about that author and her plots. So like I can give you information on things. I don't know if they're going to be helpful.
Yeah, let's keep that one to yourself. How about if I have questions, can other people see or hear you?
No, they have to be holding stuff. Short answer, no. People have to be wielding the staff in order to really see me. There have been a few times where someone's held on to the staff long enough and I've regained a lot of information and memory and slowly grew stronger, so I was able to project myself to others. So eventually, we could work our way up to that, and I could let other people see me. But in my current state...
Well, the point I'm going for here is subtlety, because in case you didn't notice, I have a lot of companions, and we're in a bit of tight quarters. Can I talk to you without talking to you? And he kind of motions to what they're doing currently.
Oh no. Problem is I have no like physical minds to telepathically project into, so the sort of subtle communication is a bit skewed. It does not work as well as you would like it to.
Perfect. All right. Anything else I need to know before I put you back for the evening? Because I am cold. And at that, Kuvos is like pulling the jacket closer, kind of trying not to start shivering.
Yes, before you return back to the caravan, one more thing. Look out, there's an owlbear! He's gone by the time you turn back around.
Motherfucker. And Kuvos is not having it. He is like, this is a lot of information to process, and he sits there for a moment longer, and When he had gone out there, he was clutching the staff protectively, still considering it this precious family heirloom. And as he looks at it now, it's almost as if it's taken on a whole new meaning. And it carries so much more danger and uncertainty with it. And as he heads back towards the Vardo, he almost holds it at a distance now, rather than as closely as he was clutching it before.
All right. Yeah. Anything else from anyone here in the night?
From my position at the top of the wagon, that's sort of my default place. If I haven't said where I am, please assume I am on top of the wagon.
Got it.
Could I make a perception check to see if I notice Kuvos sneaking off with his staff and then sneaking back with it, but acting different?
I am also outside. Is
Yeah,
that something I
Kuvos.
could do?
Yeah, Kuvos, if you're trying to be sneaky about it, roll a stealth check, and they'll roll perception to see if they can't beat your stealth.
All right, let's see if Kuvos can be stealthy for once.
I'm assuming he went to piss.
But why being so weird about the staff if you just gotta take a leak? You know what I mean?
That's another dirty 20.
Ooh. So yeah, perception check. Anyone beating a dirty 20 would see Kuvos sneaking there and back.
I only got a 17.
Also a dirty 20.
Ooh.
Carrie, you do not notice. Olwen, you definitely do notice.
As like Kubos is sneaking back, Olin is just gonna pop out from like wherever place he was, and he was like, "Hey, Kubos, you were in that forest a while."
Hi, Owen. Yeah, I needed to step away for a moment.
Hey, no, it's okay. You don't have to explain. I completely understand. It's just, judging from the forest that you went into, the leaves in that forest aren't the best. So if you didn't bring something, I would be a little more careful. Because it can get bad if you grab the wrong leaves, you know? Just something to keep in mind. I'm sure you're a smart kid. I'm sure you did this well, but you were in there a while, and I was a little worried.
There is a flash of confusion across Kubos' face for the first few moments of that explanation, and then Kubos catches on to what you're talking about, and he starts nodding. He's like, "Yeah, you know what? I didn't really think about that. I did bring some toiletries with me, but I will make sure next time to, when we start running out of said toiletries, I'll make sure to keep an eye on the leaves."
See, that's good. People don't think about it, and that's the problem. But good on you. Have a good night, Goofos.
You too. And he will enter the Vardo once again.
I think Alina and Suda both had something. So Suda, if you have anything.
Mine was mostly that just to point out that Suda would make tea toward bedtime, dropping in the herbs that she's stockpiled, and drinking heartily.
Absolutely. Alina, anything from you?
Absolutely. So, Elena, if no one else makes the move to the actual bed in the Vardo, Elena's claiming the bed because, you know, that's her vibe. There's some assume like she's aware of most of her privilege, but there are gonna be moments. But also she's gonna kind of try and catch a vibe of if we're setting a watch or not. And kind of do a quiet ritual cast of Unseen Servant right before she goes to bed, And as she lays down, the servant kind of tucks her in, does that, like, let me just make sure that you're okay thing. And then she sends them out to keep watch for the first hour. And with the instruction that if anything disturbs them, they should come wake her and the others up.
Sage 100% assumed that the bed was going to be Alina's. Out of like, yes, we are traveling with a noble person. They are going to have the bed. I do also want to say she would light a stick of incense, probably outside the Vardo out of politeness, before bed as well. Maybe I'm imagining like having the campfire with Suda brewing her tea and everything. And just quietly, I think she has some little charms, like little trinkets. Pull out just like a little tchotchke set of scales. And just do kind of a prayer to sorry, I had it and then I lost it. Gala just with all of the examples we've passed by. Yeah. Probably has some blankets and such that she's used to sleeping on the floor of a wagon. That's normal.
Is there a corner of the Vardo that Suda can string a hammock?
Yeah, there is a hammock already in there.
Oh, okay. Well, then Suda's definitely taking the hammock.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from Caradwin?
So having everyone sort of settled in for the night, there's tea brewing, perhaps the scent of incense as they're sitting wrapped in a blanket. They don't necessarily need, but it feels good to have something sort of pulled around their shoulders. She will sit in her space at the top of the Vardo, preparing to not sleep. As an elf, she only needs 4 hours of meditative rest. So in the sort of discussion about if there's a watch, Carradine will, I'll rest for a few hours, but then I'm happy to stand watch the rest of the night. But she will sit in a cross-legged, comfortable pose, pondering this medallion and that strange feeling and that little cut remaining on their palm, and just settling into that meditative rest, offer up a silent prayer. Hail Marok, God of the buried. I know that you are with me. Cold are the hands that pray to you, and still are the hearts you seek. Blessed Marok, tender of the grave, prepare the way for us as we work towards the inevitable end.
Wonderful. You murmur this very quiet, very reverent prayer out to just the empty air. And though no feeling you've gotten since that night of Marok's call to you has ever been as strong as that, you smell the faintest smell of just cold turned earth. And macabre as it might be, maybe gives you a bit of comfort. All right. Everyone beds down for the night. We have some of our party members assisting in the watches, but the bulk of it is seemingly being carried by the caravan guards, who are here not to assist with the expedition, mostly just the travel, it seems. The night passes quietly and calmly as everyone gets their rest. And you all wake, not with the sunrise, of course, just early in the morning, still as it is very dark outside. You know the sun will be rising here in a few hours. And Leto gathers everyone, makes sure everyone gets breakfast, and you all begin to continue down the road as you exit Grimhold Valley proper. So, we are going to have a few more hours of travel on this new day, this new morning, before we reach the first stop that Leto mentioned, which is Beggar's Hole, the sort of larger town area in like the southernmost point of the kingdom of Valensun. So let's go ahead and have someone roll for our travel. Who would like to roll for our very first just travel?
Before we roll for that, real quick, can Olwen
Yeah.
use his last 2 spell slots to make 20 good berries that'll last until like the next night? Because I think they're 24 hours, right?
Oh yeah, so like the night before. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the roll gonna be for the travel?
So I'll have you guys roll a d20 first. Whoever wants to do
So just flat d20.
Yep, just a flat d20.
Winter, you are the chosen one.
Go for it.
I don't know that you want to.
It's rolled. It's rolled now.
It's rolled now.
Oh, that's
Oh, no.
holding up a 1.
That is a natural 1.
Guys, it's TPK time.
Woo!
All right.
Here comes a
everyone's
dragon.
My dice are not nice
amazing.
today.
Please put that one in dice jail.
I mean, considering the last combat too, was that the same one? Does that one need to go in time now in particular?
Probably. Probably.
Get yourself a dice jail.
For the audience, if we have this in bloopers or keep this in at any point, Jacqueline is holding up a dice jail.
a wooden. Oh, whoa!
That
good
apparently.
catch.
Ooh.
It's held by magnets.
No, I have a thing sitting on top of it, but yeah,
Oh.
that's a dice jail.
Wow. Wonderful. Deserved. Amazing. Go ahead with that nat 1. Go ahead and roll me 2d10.
2d10. Are we rolling like 100, or am I telling you each individually?
2d10 and just give me the total.
Okay. 25.
25. That was for 2d10.
Oh, no, that's what I meant. Are they individual, or are we rolling a d100? So
Yeah,
7 total.
Yeah. 7 total. Gotcha. Okay. So as you guys travel, you guys are about in 45 minutes to an hour into this new day of travel. The rain from the previous night is exceptionally worse to what anyone thought. It is a complete and total downpour with thick fog, thick mud jamming up the wheels. Your guys' travel time is going to extend by, let me roll this here. Your guys' travel time is going to extend by a whole 6 hours total added onto your journey.
Fun.
So instead of getting to your next stop in midday, you guys are gonna be getting there like late afternoon. It's gonna take some time, and then your next day is also going to be delayed. So with absolutely horrendous weather slowing you guys down as you travel on, you actually rolled pretty well from that nat 1 with the 2d10s.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you got lucky.
All right.
With your travel significantly delayed and everything just muddy and soaked and frigid and cold, it's absolutely miserable. But after several hours of travel, it is getting to be late afternoon. The sun has risen and started to set already. It is now closer to sunset by the time you guys are reaching Beggar's Hole, when you were originally intended to get here when the sun was high in the sky. Everyone is exhausted and beaten down, and again, just soaked to the bone. Anyone who hasn't been taking cover inside of their respective wagons the entire time, just absolutely soaked to the bone. As you guys are approaching Beggar's Hole, it's not a grand city like Seer's Morning, of course, but it's a fairly good-sized, respectable town, despite its sort of negative name that it has. There's a couple of multi-story buildings, but not a lot. They seem to be a couple, like, empire houses. There's some areas for like the nobles who directly look over the city that they're residing in. There looks to be like a chapel maybe, but it's pretty small. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Sage, very familiar to you.
Yes.
As you're coming upon Beggar's Hall. A very familiar skyline. What isn't familiar to you in this skyline is the massive plume of black smoke that is rising up from the center of the city, and the yelling that is coming from that smoke.
Sage has been, as this day has gone on, out of the wagon more than one would expect. She has a big, broad-brimmed, pointed hat that she puts on to shield her face from the rain. She goes out and helps unstick wagons as needed and that sort of thing. This is surprisingly comfortable for her. She's in her element as they're traveling here, and she just pops back into the wagon and prestidigitates herself dry over a period of a half hour or so. Takes quite a few castings to get there with this sort of weather. But I think at one point, as it's dark out, she probably has a lantern that she's cast light on so that the rain doesn't put out the flame. I think she does poke her head into the wagon after she's been out, just trying to unmuck some wagon wheels. Alina, is your horse able to travel in this a little quicker, or is it not trained for these sort of situations? Or
I mean, she'll go in almost anything, but I was planning to stay inside where it's warm and dry. My cloak.
Can I borrow her?
Will you take care of her?
Of course.
Elena gives you a very long look. You'll take care of her. Any lameness,
you have my
bring her
word.
right back.
You have my word. I won't bring her right back. I will have her stabled where it is warm and dry and fed.
Go ahead.
I go.
All right. You guys see Sage, her demeanor suddenly take on a bit more urgency, requesting Alina's horse and getting granted permission, quickly saddles up on the horse, and with a crack of the reins, you shoot forward into the night. The rain is hitting your face like icicles. It is sharp and it is painful, but you are going forward as fast as you can. Your hands are already numb, holding these reins, being stuck out from the safety and warmth of the cloak that you are wearing. You are quickly going forward, the dirt roads transforming into cobblestone, but still covered in mud. You see people running away from the smoke in a bit of a panic, and you are continuing down this cobblestone street, continuing careening deeper into the town. And as you get closer, you turn the corner and you see the source of this plume of black smoke. What looks to be a sort of post office. So it looks like a place for messengers to come in and out of. And it is just absolutely engulfed in giant flames. You see there are guards surrounding it, sometimes looking around and trying to shout in and then looking back, and you see they cornered what looks like a spellcaster. You come around the corner just as they finish slinging their last spell before the guards of this town completely subdue them and begin struggling to fasten this heavy metal helm over their head, clasping it tight around their neck, preventing them from casting spells. A horrendous anti-magic device you are very familiar with. You see, as the first one is caught, what looks like a second spellcaster backing up in fear and turning to run away from the burning building, his hands still wreathed in flames, looking very guilty. And as the guards begin to take chase, you see, shooting like an arrow out of one of the alleyways, a figure that you are very familiar with. You see your father darting out of the shadows, full body tackling this spellcaster to the ground, and just completely rolling around, stops, topples, raises up his fist, punches him in the face as the guards come and quickly begin to assist. They grab the spellcaster and begin to lock him up as well. The two of them yelling and screaming, trying to protest and sling spells, but they are quickly shut down by the anti-magic devices clamped around their necks and heads. You see, your father stands up, covered in soot and sweat and rain, and just dusting himself off. The guard says something to him. He nods to them, kind of thank you, and he's nodding in a bit of acknowledgement. He's dusting himself off, looking around. He hasn't noticed you yet. He turns to some of the bystanders.
I would like to say, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but if he is within my range, as soon as I see him, Shield of Faith.
Yeah, absolutely. You cast this spell as he turns to yell to everyone. Your father has always had respect of people around him. He's a good man. He helps people. and the sort of like guardian of the town, man of respect, is really just made more real as you cast this spell on him, and he almost glows and shimmers, silhouetted by this burning building as he begins to order the bystanders around him, going like, all right, take that one back to the clinic, everyone begin, we have to finish putting this out, start putting up the blocks around so it doesn't spread to the other buildings, get those 2 assholes out of here, pointing to the spellcasters as they're dragged away. And everyone begins to nod along, and they all begin to pitch in and start putting it out. You've kind of come at what's the tail end of a very strange attack, is what it looks like. People begin to handle the fire. It's a burning inferno to take out this building, but they get a handle on it, trying to keep it from spreading to others. The rain has actually helped in this situation because it's not spreading as fast as it would have before. And as that order's finally given, you see Elias, your father, kind of put his hands on his hip and look around before he finally sees you sitting atop the horse on the same street. Sage!
Is there someone who just needs... They can be on the horseback and I can take them to the clinic. What do we need?
There were 2 of them still inside when it went up. They've taken one over. The other one, he points, and you see some of the townspeople. They're like finishing transferring this young man onto like a makeshift stretcher. He's got some burns, but none of them look too like life-threatening. They look a little bad, but none not life-threatening. And you see they begin to carry him off. It looks like they're getting the second one. They're taking him back. We're just gonna let it burn down. As long as it doesn't spread to all the others, we can deal with the rest in the morning. I'm gonna go attend to the 2 that were caught in the blaze. They're gonna take the arsonists off to the barracks and then transfer them to the city in the morning. What are you doing here, kid? Come on.
I'll dismount and go. You're filthy. I'm filthy.
I am. Come on. He's so sweaty and covered in soot.
I am so also covered in mud, so.
Yeah, you guys are both absolutely
embarrassing,
filthy.
Frankly.
Walks over, throws his arms around you and hugs you tight before suddenly pushing you back, his hands on your shoulders. What the hell do you think you're doing here, showing up without writing me as much as a letter, saying, oh, father, I'm alive, I'm fine, everything's great, you don't need to worry about me every day.
You knew all of that was... You knew all of that.
Well, yeah, but it would be nice to read it in a letter.
Don't you have a job to do? We'll see you at home. I'll make sure that the fire is started and everything is ready for you when you get home, okay?
Yes. I'm gonna go attend to the 2 at the clinic. Go home. Do not leave town until I feed you. Do you understand me?
Can you feed 5 others?
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Just go home. He straightens his like little vest that he's wearing over his tunic and the little scarf that he has, kind of straightens himself up, pushes his hair out of his face, and dashes back off to assist the 2 being taken to the clinic. The rest of our party here, you guys will arrive as the fire is like being contained. They're not really trying to put it out, they're just trying to keep it from spreading. They're just letting the building burn to the ground. It's too far gone at this point. But you all arrive as you kind of see the aftermath of this fire happening. Sage is standing there, Alina, with your horse. She's fine. But yeah, Sage, everyone else arrives as your father has already taken off, and you were ordered very strictly by your papa to return home. Go home.
Everything's handled. I didn't make it on time to help out, but it's going to be all right. Thank you, Alina.
Of course. Alina takes her horse, pats him, reaches into a pocket, gives him a carrot.
We'll see if Aletta has some apples or whatever the preference is. Carrots.
Do we know anything about what happened?
Arson, as far as I can tell. They got the ones who did it.
Oh.
Are people hurt? Is everyone okay?
Papa's taking care of them.
Oh, your father was here.
Yes, he's the physician around these parts. Let's get out of this rain, please.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wait, I think because Sage didn't tell anyone she was
Oh,
from
absolutely
here.
not. Absolutely not.
So Kuvos is just kind of staring now like, oh, so we're in your home. Interesting.
Use your context clues, Kuvos.
We are in guess culture, not ask culture here.
Yeah, we're in figure it the fuck out culture.
Yeah, figure it the fuck out culture. I'm guessing you lead everyone back to your
Yes.
home. Okay. Leto and the rest of the caravan, they like finally, like, as the rest of the party catches up, he meets up, everything's fine. He kind of is like, oh, it's fine. We'll go get stables of our own. We will go. Do you want us to take your Vardo to the stables as well?
I don't think we would have
We'll
a
just put
place
it up
for
against
it.
the
So I think we probably have some small, like 1 or 2 horse stall stable at home,
Great.
but not
We'll
space
just
for
put
the
it in
Bardo,
the
so.
stables with the rest of
yeah.
the caravan. We will be at the inn nearby, and we'll probably leave. I don't want to stay here too long, so sometime tomorrow morning, tomorrow early afternoon, if we could depart. Other than that, we will see you tomorrow.
I think we
And
have
he
space
checks off
for
to the rest of the caravan.
all of you. I'm looking at the rest of the party to stay at our place. If you are all right not having a room to yourself, if you'd prefer that, please feel free to head to the inn. But it's I'm look at Alina a little and try to choose my words. It's expected that you're welcome in my home.
Of course. Elena kind of gives Sage a more assessing look for a moment and nods and starts to lead her horse to follow Sage. Not even waiting to see if the others come.
Yep. As you guys are in Beggar's Hole, just as context for audience and everyone else who is not aware, you guys are out of Shroudmoor territory. You guys are within Beggar's Hole. You are in House Lindaris territory. This is
I'd
Alina.
forgotten
Yeah, it
that.
is literally expected that I provide hospitality.
Yeah, it is expected. Sage has no choice but to let Alina stay in her house. All right, you guys navigate through the streets.
To that end,
yeah.
Is there anyone? Is this a small enough town that like Lindaris has a presence here with a capital P, or is it just sort of like it's another small town kind of deal?
It's like a bigger town. So there's a couple like House Lindaris representatives, I would say, but they're like lesser lords.
Got it. Elena's just gonna keep an eye out for one of those representatives running around. If we see them, cool. If not, she's not gonna worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Upon hearing that there won't be enough room for all of us to stay, Olwen is going to walk next to Elena, but look towards her horse. And he's going to put like a like what looks to be like a small animal hair into his mouth, swallow it, and begin talking to the horse and say, "Hello there, noble beast. Would you mind if I shared the stable? Normally I just sleep on the roof or on the ground, but I'd prefer having a roof."
Beast? Beast? You called me a beast? Nevertheless, the noble in front of it, but I am no beast. Have you seen my shiny mane and coat? It's a bit besmirched by all this mud and rain that we're going through.
Oh, I'm sorry. What would you prefer I call you?
If I can, I think Elena is clued in enough to the vibe of her animal, who's like one of her second favorite horse, right? That at the moment where they talk about how they are a bit besmirched with mud at the moment, she just kind of absentmindedly reaches out and prestidigitations the worst of the mud and the muck away. It's still wet enough that she can't dry them per se, but like they go from being a wet and muddy travel mess to being like just attractively damp.
Oh, See,
glistening.
That is the service that I expect. I am of House Lendarius. These people, this Lady Alina, she serves me very well. She makes sure that I am always trimmed and proper and shiny. I expect that treatment from you as well. Beast!
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. What would you like me to call you?
You may call me my lady if you insist on addressing me. But in terms...
As this is going on, Sage is like, yes, so we do have a single horse stall, and it's actually not occupied at the moment, I believe. My father's just been borrowing one from someone else and hasn't found one that he wants to keep. So the horse will have her own stall, but we might have to share bedrooms.
Ooh. Well, it only makes sense that you hear her. It only makes sense that I would get a space of my own filled with the finest hay that can be found. And carrots! Tell them to bring me carrots.
The lady is saying that they wanted carrots.
Wonderful.
Yes, we've established that. I'm going to ask Aletta if we have any.
Their favorite treat has always been carrots, I know that. I always give them carrots. It's our special treat. My favorite horse likes apples. She likes carrots. Why is this a revelation?
Well, no, I'm not saying it as a revelation. I'm saying that the lady currently is saying that she would like carrots.
She always wants carrot. Why?
Turn left here.
Elena just keeps walking. Sometimes, Olwen, you truly confuse me.
Olwen will turn back to the horse and say, I don't understand why they're confused. I thought they would be happy to hear what you have to say.
Oh, it's fine. For people like yourself, those who walk on two legs, they can grasp only simple concepts. I'm surprised you have the manner of which to speak to me at this moment. But if you insist on spending the night in the stables, but no touching, no brushing, no beholding, you may sit and quietly admire me without your eyes. You may think about how glorious I am in the corner, silently, by yourself.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
I know, I'm so kind. Flips her mane.
Sage, do you have are you of any kind of station? Have invisible servants?
God, no. No.
Good.
I think it's hard to keep track of the number of removals and such. We're somewhat related, but not enough to have any sort of claim or title.
Oh, good. Very good.
All right. Sage, you lead everyone to the house. It is a beautiful little house, not as grand as all the nobles you've seen. It's someone who is like comfortable in their life and has a beautiful little home that they can live in, but nothing too opulent, nothing too out of the ordinary. The lady is put in the little stable. She does not thank anyone, Olwen, you know that. She merely mutters something about how, yes, this is expected for her. She is put in the stable, and you guys are let into Sage's home. Sage, the moment upon entering, it is the same home that you have always known. It is comfortable, if a little sterile at some points, but you do hear a voice call out, Elias, is that you? You coming back so soon? Turning the corner, you see a very sweet, round-faced older woman, rosy red cheeks, and very cut short, bright red hair that she has pulled back, nice and curly, very freckled face. She turns, she has very itty-bitty glasses on the end of her nose that she kind of adjusts to see through. Oh, Sage! Come! Oh, look at you! Just hobbles over.
All of Sage, all the people who like Sage are old ladies, and I love that for her.
She just grabs your face face is just turning over. Oh, look at you!
Yes,
Grown so much.
I really haven't.
Stink
It
like
hasn't
the
been that. I
heavens.
haven't grown at all. Do we have any carrots?
Oh, so much grown. Oh yes, I'll grab some carrots. Do you have a craving, dear?
There was a very brave horse.
Oh yes, we must reward the brave horses. Oh, speaking of which, Cedric, come here.
Cedric!
Come here, baby. You see waddling around the corner the fattest, oldest dog you've ever seen in your life. He is so round and gray, and he's just...
You see more emotion on Sage's face in this moment than you have ever seen.
Just does not move any faster because he is incapable of doing so, but his tail starts wagging, he starts panting even louder, and doesn't like jump up
I
on
scoop
you
him
like
up.
a dog excited to see you. He's too old.
He's
he just
kind of
plops
too
up
big to
against
scoop
you
up,
so you
but I
can
do
lift
it
him.
anyway.
Yeah. Just this dog obsessed with you.
So this is Cedric, and this is Miss Aletta.
Very nice to meet you.
I don't think we're going to be staying long, unfortunately, but it is too
Oh.
late to be setting out on the road again for tonight, so...
Well, I'm very glad to have you all. Yes, please, everyone, come in. Take off your shoes. Off your shoes. I will not have you tracking mud into this house. I just mopped. Take off your shoes, everyone. Hang up your coats, and then come sit down for dinner. Make sure you wash up beforehand.
Elena kind of casually but pointedly steps around and into view and kind of pulls her cloak over and makes sure that her ring kind of flushes, just to be the like Lendaris thing. Mistress Aletta, thank you so much for having us in your home. We very much appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being here, my lady. It is an absolute pleasure to have you in. She says with like a very deep bow. Doesn't change her cadence at all, but pays a bit more attention to you now that she's aware of who you are. Absolutely. We will get a room ready for everyone else. We will get some beds ready. Everyone, please. As I said, let's wash up and let's all have some dinner. You all look starved. Come.
And as they all kind of file in, Elena prestidigitates everyone to make sure that they don't drip or put mud onto the
I was
nice
already
floors.
on it. It's a little hard
fair.
holding this dog that is probably too big to carry, but...
You don't have to do it all. I can assist.
Combined effort, you all clean yourselves up so you can enter the house proper without tracking in mud.
Owen almost looks like an entirely different person. Cleaned up.
I thought he had facial hair. It was just mud. It was just dirt.
You just remove years of debris from Olwen.
Owen is going to turn to Cedric and go, hello there, noble Cedric. Thank you for letting us step into your home.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
This is a very, very old dog, Andy.
You smell kind of funny. Snuggles into Sage. I missed you. You've gone too long.
Your friend Cedric says that they miss you and that you've been gone too long.
I'm trying to decide if she starts crying.
Well,
Waterworks.
is there any...
She really is like kind of speechless. She's like, I thought so. She doesn't say it out loud. She's embarrassed probably, honestly. She's still in her like full, like wide brimmed hat, like rain gear and everything. Doesn't want to set the dog down to take her own cloak off. Papa should be home probably a couple hours, Aletta. He was, there were 2 folks who were injured down at the postal center.
Oh yes, I heard there was a fire going on. I tell you, all those mages running into town and trying to cause trouble. They've been doing.
This isn't
really
an isolated incident.
Oh no, they've been causing little pranks here and there. They went too far this time, though. I will tell you that. But I assume that they've been caught.
Yes, they
Wonderful.
They were prepared for spellcasters. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's nothing too bad, but just some spellcaster folk.
Do you know where they're coming from, Mistress Aletta?
Ooh, it's not friendly to speak ill of others, but I believe there's some of those a conclave folk. They can't get close to the city to set things on fire, so they just sort of settled for us. But they're caught now, so we should be just fine.
One does hope.
Did I see? Obviously, I don't think I know enough to know that conclave wizards would probably not be wearing insignia of the conclave if they were up to something that would get them arrested.
They were like black clad, blacks, grays, browns, like dark clothing. They were trying to do this on the down low, but apparently got unlucky and got caught.
Because my thought was, if they were outwardly wearing conclave gear, then they're absolutely not conclave, is why I was asking.
Yeah. Right. Aletta takes you all in. You all remove your shoes, clean yourselves up. She takes you into the dining room, sits everyone down so you guys can all have some dinner. She had like a roast in the oven with some vegetables on the side and some bread, not quite fresh, maybe made like earlier in the day, like early that morning, so not hot out of the oven, but fresh enough to be a pleasant meal. Gives everyone some wine to pair with her food. It's a wonderful home cooked meal after a little while of being on the road. It's wonderfully filling. And you guys get probably like halfway into dinner before you hear the front door open again. And Sage, you hear your father call out, Sage!
I'm coming! I'll get up and meet him at the door. Start prestidigitating him dry.
Yeah, he's shaking off his coat. He takes off like the vest item he was wearing, hangs it up, shakes his hair out, gets himself all dried off, leaves his shoes at the door. He's like wiping his hands clean. We're good. Everyone at the clinic is fine. Like I said, it was just the two people.
Good. It sounds like I missed more of what's going on here than you missed what was going on with me.
Just some, pardon my language, fucking shitheads that want to cause issues and be like, oh, we hate the Empire. And I'm like, we're not the Empire. We're just people living out here in the middle of nowhere, and you're setting our shit on fire. I shouldn't get into it. I don't want to bring this aggressiveness to dinner. We're gonna have a nice dinner because I have my daughter here at home for me, even though she doesn't write to me anymore. Come on. Put you almost in a headlock, like puts an arm around your shoulders and like drags you along.
You knew that everything was fine. I would write if everything wasn't fine.
How would you write if everything wasn't
I'd find a way.
Maybe you wouldn't be able to write.
Have you heard from Willow?
Okay. That's about as much as I've heard from you. Which is not much. I swear. I said, you give all your life. He starts doing his rant of like, my children don't call me enough. Starts doing his rant. Finishes it up when he emerges into the dining room. He nods to everyone, but goes straight to acknowledge Elena in the house.
As soon as he comes in, she stands very respectful, full manners, gives a nod.
Yeah. He bows to give you a welcome. Lady Elena, welcome to our house. I am very glad to have you. I hope the travel was not too treacherous, and I hope your arrival was not too besmirching of our lovely town here.
No, you are most kind to host us in your home. We very much appreciate it. All honor to you and to your household.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Blessings on your house, my lady. Now, let us all sit and have food, eat, drink, and everyone can introduce themselves to me. So Sage tells me nothing about her life or her friends. He takes a seat at the table, introduces himself. I am Elias. You may call me Elias. No holds barred here. I'm fine with just my name.
Well, you know me already, it seems. Lady Elena.
Absolutely.
Monsensiru of Haslandaris.
Looks to everyone else.
Hello, my name is Tanner, Olwen Tanner. I am a leather worker from Valenson.
Wonderful to meet you.
That's a funny way to pronounce anarchist. I don't say that.
He's waiting very expectantly, looking at the other three.
I'm just kind of sitting there awkwardly, and I kind of like, I think I understand. I go, this is Kuvos Nemenath. We were exchanging some information when we met in Sears morning. And I allow I know with the conclave talk that has happened in the past 15 minutes, Kuvos is probably hesitant. So I say this in a way that is like, I am removing the responsibility of introducing yourself as Prefect Nemenef from you by introducing you for you.
And he greatly appreciates that because he, ever since the conclave was mentioned, he's been clutching his cloak very close to make sure that the insignia is not revealed on accident or on purpose, and would kind of nod. He's placed Kari on top of it to sort of give an excuse for it to still be there. And is kind of feeding her vegetables off of his plate. And says, yes, I was traveling down to see his morning from Oldmere, and I ran into your daughter. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Glad to have you. Looks to Suda and Caradwin waiting expectantly.
What you got, Carrie?
The silence stretches on, and he just sort of nods. Well, I hope everyone had a fortuitous travel getting here. I assume you all be staying the night. You are all more than welcome to, of course. Any friends of Sage, I will welcome into my home. Please, everyone, eat your fill as much as you like. There's more where that came from if you need it. Sage, I will join you all for dinner. I have some work to do in my study tonight. But Cedric has not left your side.
Oh, I've been feeding him.
With like his head.
I've been feeding him.
Yeah, he's head in your lap. He's just kind of like eating whatever you pass down to him. Aletta serves everyone, making sure everyone has full plates, has fed themselves. She would like normally in a lot more formal settings, would go like have her meal like separately from everyone else, being of her position. I mean, there's a chair open for her, and she normally would like sit and eat with everyone, but she sort of resigns to that more formal position now that blood of House Lindaris is within these walls. So she serves everyone and then kind of retreats back into the kitchen to eat her meal separately from everyone else. But yeah, you are all sat around the table. You are all fed as much as you desire and given places to sleep for the night. Elias is very, very friendly, very open with everyone, talks very boisterously, but tries to keep an air of like professionalism with everyone around him. But from what you guys can surmise, he is very much like a respected individual in this area. Though not maybe like official nobility of any kind, he's just a good man that people respect and listen to. But yeah, anything anyone's trying to do for like during dinner time tonight, during any points of downtime, you guys settle in for the night for this quick stop here in Beggar's Hole.
I will say, before we go to bed for the night, I would like to try and find a quiet moment with Kuvos.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't help but notice how you've been trying to conceal that logo on your garment.
Well, and he kind of nods to the door. I would assume that Alina would have caught him while he was making preparations for bed, if nothing else. Based on where we came from and what's going on here, now does not seem like the time for anyone to really know, does it?
That's fair. I don't think a magical fix would conceal it too well over the long term, but if I can get a needle and thread and some fabric, maybe I can help cover it for you?
Well, I believe I can procure something. Or if...
Just know the offer stands. People here, we're in my territory, which means people have to give me what I ask for to a certain amount. Fabric, thread, easy enough to get if we need it. The offer stands.
There are only a couple open rooms where people would be sleeping, which is to say Sage's bedroom, Willow's bedroom, and the kind of... parlor sounds too fancy. It really is more of a living room because they don't really receive guests very often. Willow's room would
Yes.
absolutely have some like seamstress sort of paraphernalia in there.
And it, of course, goes to Alina. So it's kind of divided up. Alina's given Willow's room. Sage, you go to your own room. Beds and stuff are made in sort of like the living room area. Kuvos, I think right as you're like finishing up this conversation with Alina about this symbol on your jacket, Olwen is rapidly turning the corner holding something in his hands.
With my massive passive perception, would I have heard this entire conversation?
Yeah, absolutely, which is why you come barreling around the corner being like, I have a solution.
So I think Owen does come around the corner, and I think he is like beet red. As he's like trying to get out the word and say like Kuvos, could I have a moment of your time?
Sure, what's wrong?
I'll leave you to it. Just know my offer stands. And Alina trundles off to her room.
And before you leave, he will turn and say, I will gladly accept that offer.
We'll take care of it in the morning.
He nods and looks confused at Olwen. What's wrong?
Okay, so I noticed that you were trying to hide the symbol for a while. This took a few hours. Here.
Are you okay, Olwen?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just, I don't want this to seem like something that happened because I heard a thing. It's just that things are dangerous and being safe is important. I don't know what the things you like are. I know that you have a turtle. So here, Owen is going to hand you a it's very clear that this would have taken him like at least a few hours, maybe a day. And it is a leather patch of like a sea turtle that's large enough to specifically cover like the conclave symbol on your cloak. And he hands it over.
And Kuvos takes it and looks at it and kind of smiles.
Owen is avoiding eye contact, still just completely beat red.
Thank you, Olwen.
You're welcome. You don't wear armor, so there was nothing for me to work on that front. I had some extra leather pieces, and I couldn't help but notice that you were hiding the symbol, so I took some time, and I made this, just when nothing was happening while we were on the road.
I really do appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
And Kuvos will say, funny enough, I was just offered some help with that.
Yeah.
So this will go a long way in assisting.
Yeah, I heard the whole thing. It's
I figured
a
you
small
did.
house. I didn't mean to do it on purpose.
And can we not talk about the symbol
Right.
much louder?
No, sorry. Yeah, that's my bad.
And Kuvos will kind of nod and just be like, I appreciate that you took the time.
It was no problem. You're welcome. Owen is just like hoping to like everything that no one else hears this conversation.
Everyone give me a perception check.
G, I am begging you. Would you please roll one for Aletta?
Aletta rolls with advantage because she's a housekeeper and she's nosy. And also because that's hilarious.
Yeah, I got a 24, so I definitely heard that.
Just this super awkward conversation.
I think I heard it because Carradine was coming down the like hallway towards the 2 bedrooms, I think, intending to ask a question to Sage, and then sort of like stopped in the hallway. I'm like, someone's talking. I'm just gonna wait. Oh, I don't want to interrupt this.
I got a 13, so I think I got the vibe that something embarrassing was happening.
Aletta heard it perfectly, and she's going to fill you in later.
Thank you.
Okay, you have a good night, Kuvos. I am going to go sleep in the stables by the horse.
Okay. Good night, Owen. Why are you sleeping in the stables?
Because it's raining outside and I needed a roof.
We've fully gotten a cot out for, like, there is an empty cot in the living room for Olwen. Also, somebody is invited to stay in Sage's room as well. Like, there was one cot put in Sage's room, and then, like, I don't know if Alina would be okay with another person being in the other bedroom with her.
I think Alina would be okay with it, but I suspect that that Elias would not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've prepared the room for Alina and Alina alone. Whether Alina wants to invite anyone else in is up to her.
1 or 2 people in Sage's room and everybody else, there's enough in the living area.
Yeah, wherever people are bedding down for the night. Cots are set up, blankets, linens, pillows, and such are handed out so everyone can rest comfortably. As the night is sort of drawing to a close, Suda, where are you sleeping?
My first instinct is to be in the large living area. Once again, under the effects of my doze flower. But did anybody take Sage up on the other cot? No.
Cedric.
Okay. Then you know what? Just for potential drama's sake, Suda will be in with Sage. We'll have drank her tea and crawled into the cot.
Sage is gonna stay up. Maybe not later than anyone, but everyone else. But as you would expect her to be getting ready for bed, she kind of heads down to the kitchen and does seem to be making some tea for everybody. It's kind of a nighttime. There's some chamomile or whatever. Rosie does not know things about tea. But she has her own. She likes pulling down like individual herbs and mixing them together. She makes enough for everybody in the group, as well as she plans to bring some to her father in his study. And Aletta as well.
So, in that case, Suda would have met Sage down in the kitchens and just accepted a cup of whatever Sage was making and sprinkled in her herbs.
Wonderful. So everyone is kind of bedding down their own separate areas. Sage is going around distributing tea to people. Suda, you have your tea with your own special herbs sprinkled in. You return to the cot where you're going to be spending the evening. Kind of a moment of peace with all of the dreadful travel that occurred today. You're like, I'm clean, everything's warm, I have tea, I got a home cooked meal, it's great, everything's fine. It's like a nice moment of being content. Sitting on the end of the cot, sipping on your tea. And like fighting through underwater, you hear her voice surface slowly and distantly, slowly becoming more and more clear. until finally it speaks clearly. You hear your sister reach out to you. Suda. Hey, hi. Are you okay?
Well, things are progressing too slowly.
Right. I just. There's something, strange, sort of. I needed to speak with you when you got a moment alone, but you're traveling in that wagon with everyone else, so I wanted to grab you now while I had the chance.
Suda puts down the tea that she usually drinks for this purpose alone, so that they don't make some weird switch while she's sleeping, so that she can quiet the voices at night. But if her sister is calling on her, this is important. So she sets the tea aside.
I didn't get a chance to speak with you after the city with the rodent when I was up front for a bit. I mean, I know I've described it to you before. When I'm the face of things, my mind is foggy. It's hard to remember things. Same here. When I come back here, everything that happened when I was up front is foggy and hard to remember. I don't know how important this is, but I can't shake the feeling. There's
What?
There's something down there, and I think we have to go to it.
Go where? Wait. Down where?
You're going under the earth, aren't you?
Yes. But it is some forgotten place. What reason would we have? What extra purpose?
That sound you heard when you were fighting the rodent.
Yes. What was it?
I don't know exactly what it was, but I think we have to go to it, and I think it's down there.
But why?
Did you feel that?
What is it?
I don't know. It won't leave me alone. It's been holding on to my back ever since the city.
Are you?
I can't get it off.
Do you need to come up?
No, I felt it even then. It's not painful, it's just strange. It's like it's pulling. I think it's pulling us towards the thing, whatever it is underground.
So, this compulsion. This scares me, Naomi.
I know. I'm pretty scared of it too. It's just a feeling, but it's more than we've had. As scary as it might be, it's something.
I will. Yes, of course, I will find the source of this. What can I do for you now?
I think just get some sleep is all that can be done at this point. Like I said, there's nothing painful happening. It's just a strange feeling that seems to be pulling us in a direction, or at least myself.
You'll tell me if anything changes.
Yeah. Just, I don't know where you go when I sit up front, but I don't think I like where I go when I'm not up front. Something about it just feels a little off, you know? Just a little out of place.
I don't remember much when you are driving. I get flashes of what is going on, like I'm watching through a window. But helpless and immobilized.
Well, we'll learn something down there, I think. As frightening as it is, I think it'll be good. I think we'll get information we need, you know?
Yes, of course. That is hopeful.
Yeah.
Perhaps we will be one step closer to making you whole again.
Yeah. It's okay. In the meantime, because, you know, you sort of fill in the missing parts until then. So, get some sleep. I won't keep you up anymore, but I think once we get down there, we should check in again.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Good night.
Good night, Meme.
She fades like a passing fog, leaving everything feeling maybe a bit colder, maybe a bit more empty. It's a melancholy feeling every time. But there's still a bit of peace here in this night. So maybe you can get some rest.
Suda takes a deep, shaky breath, having almost lost it. Picks up her cup of tea and just chugs it. And lays down to welcome sweet oblivion.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today, everyone, as our party rests within the safe home of Sage and her family. Just want to give a quick thank you, as always, to the writers of the source book that we use in our adventures here today, Sarson Games. Please check out the Oracles of Agra book. Some fantastic content in there, and I think you'll have an amazing time with it. And let's go ahead and conclude for today, and we will see all of you guys next time. As always, everyone out there, take care of yourselves. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cedric loves you.
Bye-bye.